Hello! Shoyan here. I'm a carpenter based in Japan. Today, I'm building a raised Japanese-style room and then installing a shiki on it. At the entry of the raised room, there will be a wide shiki. The wood for the shiki is dirty, so I first roughly take the surface down with an electric plane. Then I check the better side and cut it to a 3.6 meters length. These days, I rarely use this whale shark. This tool can plane up to 30 centimeters wide. I used to use it for wood that couldn't run through a jointer or a planer, or that I couldn't carry. Currently, it sleeps in my workshop. This time, I am going to build a 7.4 square meter Japanese-style raised room. As the name implies, the floor is constructed 30 centimeters above ground level. It's barely high enough to climb one step. It's also the minimum height for sitting on or adding storage drawers to the step. I cut 3 grooves for the shiki and the kamoi. There will be 3 sliding pocket shoji screens, and all will be opened. It is the trickiest and most time-consuming method of installing shiki and kamoi. Now that I've finished processing the wood, I move to the site. First, I built a storage drawer for the 30 centimeter step at the entryway. This flexible ruler, called nyoibo, is useful when measuring internal lengths. It cannot measure the distance between the outsides of 2 columns, since it can only measure between them, but it can measure internal lengths precisely. For the storage drawer cabinet, I'm using 30mm thick Cedar laminated wood. Cedar is the least expensive wood. The cabinet will not be visible when the front door is set, so it is sufficient. Laminated cedar wood is soft. As it's made of common cedar, it becomes rough after cutting. In this case, sanding 2 pieces at a time with a sander is useful. They will have flat, straight surfaces, and the split will be removed. Now, assemble the cabinet. The cabinet should be positioned below the floor, which is 30 centimeters in height, plus the thickness of the shiki. This measurement determines the outer diameter of the cabinet. Because of this, the inside space is a bit limited. Probably only small items or toys can be stored, but I think it can hold quite a bit since it has 3 sections. Now, I install the storage cabinet in place. I position it back by the depths of the drawer face, since the drawer face will be in front of the cabinet. because I am using 2 process boards on the bag, there will be gaps between them. I fill the gap with glue to keep bugs from entering. I now build the floor to match the height of the cabinet. I installed a 60cm wide cabinet in this 7.4 square meter room, so the area to frame the floor is small. In the last few years, the houses I have built have often had a raised platform. Traditionally, Japanese houses had high entrances. We stepped on the higher kamachi, then the room is hardwood flooring, and a large, flat, long beam of a shiki called a daishiki. Some of the raised platform steps in older houses were up to 21 centimeters high. This is because the raised room with a tatami mat was considered more upper class than the hardwood flooring room. A few decades ago, the opposite trend was introduced, and the difference in levels was illuminated, which is called barrier-free. Recently, some rooms have been raised with 1 step, in order to add a sense of contrast. But the building height has not been raised, so the ceiling is low, so they're not all good points. I have finished installing the raised room floor. Next, I install the shiki. This room is 7.4 square meters, and the 3.6 meter shiki will be installed on it, so 90 centimeters of the shiki will protrude from the floor. There will be a door pocket to accommodate 3 sliding shoji screens. The doorway will open all the way, which is a luxurious design. Unlike the Hinoki cypress, cedar laminated boards tend to be uneven. I used an uneven board for the top edge, which is noticeable. I don't typically plane laminated wood, but since the shiki will be placed on it, I hand plane the top where I can make it flat. One side of the shiki will join the Hinoki cypress column. I often notch the column's bottom when installing floorboards, but this time I notch the part above the cabinet to install the shiki. Attaching the tenon shoulder of the shiki is difficult, so I will slide it in from the side. In other words, I use stop dado joint. It is only possible to do this work if there are no grooves on the shiki where it joins the column. It is not possible to slide into the plates from the side if there are grooves, so in this case, the joint will be mortise and tenon. The tenon shoulder will attach to the column, which is tricky to install. It's rare to use such a wide shiki in a doorway like this. On the top, 2 pieces of wood will be used in parallel to make the kamoi. Using shiki that way is not feasible because it may result in a level difference. Because of that, the shiki is made in 1 piece. It is tricky to mount the columns, but installing the shiki is a breeze since the side simply has to be attached to the column on the front. Now, I hand plane and finish the shiki. It's quite wide. This width is typically found only in temples. It is 24 centimeters wide. It reminds me of hand planing 24 centimeter cutting boards. Now I install the shiki. It's quite long, but the installation is the same as usual once it's in place. Fortunately, there is only one exposed column on one side. It will be neatly attached by joining the column side first and then sliding the wall side. I secure the end of the shiki to the column. Several screws can be used to secure the middle of the cabinet. Finally, I install the temporarily positioned flooring. This completes the raised room floor. The floor and shiki in the raised Japanese-style room are completed. You can sit at the front even if the shoji screens are closed, and all three screens can be opened. It is a nice space. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.